Hello and welcome to another episode of Garden to Table with Rose, and I am Rose. So it is the very end of May, actually it's Memorial Day, and I'm out here very early to do a front yard garden tour. It just seemed like a good day. It's going to get really hot here this week in the 90s, I think. So it's relatively mild today. So I thought I would get it done while I'm thinking about it, and you can see what's happened since I planted all of my bare roots. So I'm going to put a picture up of the before of the front of the house, just because maybe some people haven't seen my before video, but also I am so pleased with the changes that have happened in such a short time that I want to see it again. Alright, so it should be right here. Alright, so let me turn the camera around. Alright, and let me go out to the street and get that wide shot, and then I will return. Alright, here we are at the front of the house. So let's go over here and start in this corner. I'll try to list the names of some of these plants as I can on the video, in case anybody's interested in what's going on here. These first two trees, I believe, are nut trees, and I'm not sure. They're either the almond or the chestnuts. I have two almond dwarf trees and two chestnut trees planted in this row, these first four trees. So right here is a viburnum, or a snowball bush, and I got this from Menards. It was not very expensive, $11.99. So it's still small, but the price was right. Try not to get a glare here. This little bush sitting here is a butterfly bush that I need to plant. It's called a 3-in-1, and so I think it's supposed to have purple, light purple, and then maybe white. These kind of greenish, brownish flowers sticking up are pink as stilby. I tried to label most things, but some things I missed. There's a juga there. Oh my goodness. Which I bought that too from Menards, and it was still cold, so it looked like it had died, but it sprung back, so it's looks like it's growing, which is good. There was a sensational lavender in there. Let me try to get out of the film, my shadow. There's 3 white hostas up there in the front, and they look pretty sickly. I don't know if there's too much sun here. I mean, I know hostas like shade, but those are looking sad. And this little crescent shaped bed is supposed to be all pastels, is my goal here. All pastel colored flowers and plants, you know, in green, of course. Tree hydrangea, which should have white flowers. Yeah, so pinks, purples, and whites and green. Over here, there's some more hostas. This little ice plant doesn't look like it's going to make it, that I transplanted out here. All these little grassy looking tufts are liriope. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but that's what they are, and they're probably white. Mini roses there. Various flower seeds that I sprinkled down over here. Lupine Pixie Lights is one. I can see a sign. Not sure what that is. Some type of flower that I transplanted. And these little purple things are annuals from the nursery. And there's some more seeds there. I'm not sure what those are. And then this is a juniper little bush that I got from one of the big box stores. I'm not sure. It might have been Menards. It could have been Lowe's. It could have been Home Depot. I don't see the tag. But it wasn't too expensive. I'm on a tight budget, so I don't spend, I try not to spend a lot on a single plant. You know, if it was something I really loved and really hard to get, I would, but I'm just starting here, so I had so many plants to buy, and this still isn't full. I mean, I'm still waiting for things to come in. The last of the plants are trickling in. But this is a juniper, and I like this habit, the way it kind of weeps over. Also, it's very soft. You know, it may look prickly, but it's actually quite soft. So I do like that one. So that's what this bed is intended to be. It's intended to be a pastel colored bed. I am supposed to have a big white bush sitting in the middle. I believe it was a mock orange that I have ordered and not yet received. By the way, there are a couple of companies that I will probably not do business with again online because the experience has been poor, to say the least. Gurney's is one. They are hit and miss. I've done business with them a couple of times, but I don't think I'll go back. Michigan Bulb Company is another I would not advise anybody to use. And then Burgess. Burgess is like an online. Their website looks shockingly similar to Gurney's. But those three companies have not fulfilled my orders that I placed in the winter. And here we are well into the season, and every time I check my orders, it says back ordered, and they keep pushing the date further out. So I think I'm going to give them June, and then I'm going to cancel whatever is outstanding with these companies and ask for my money back, but I will never do business with those companies again. Okay, this is in the middle of there. I had some collard greens, I believe, growing up. And no, nothing has eaten them, so this is a good thing. I certainly will eat them because I use the same bug stuff and fertilizers in the front that I use in the back, organic stuff. I mean, they're still fertilizers, but I don't like bugs or lots of holes or destruction to my food. So if those survive and thrive, I will definitely eat them. I planted some seeds in here, which are not the seeds I should have planted in this little pot. I planted Sweet William there, which takes 2 years. I read about it after I planted the seeds, but it takes 2 years for those to flower, and I can't leave them in that little pot for 2 years because clearly they would die off. So I'm going to have to transplant them out of there maybe and put them in the ground at the end of the season, see if I can do that. So let's go this way to my little arch. Now the goal here was to have a flowering vine climb up this arch. I did not want to plant anything in the ground because I tried that and it didn't work out. It didn't grow, or I weed whacked it or something ate it, but it's difficult in that spot to try to plant something, especially something that needs a bit of time to make it up its way. So I've used pots, these little pots that I just had. And I bought this little cypress vine because I didn't want anything too heavy. It's red. I don't know if you can see that. But I didn't want anything too heavy. And I don't know, it looks like it's struggling. It's not doing much. This one over here is a little bit bigger, but not by much. So the idea was I wanted a red or yellow or green something to climb up this little trellis, and it has to be something light, a light vine that's not too heavy because this is plastic. I mean, even though it has cement at the post, it's still pretty flimsy. It's decorative. So okay, here we have some more trees. More trees. One of those is probably a nut. The other two is probably persimmons, I am guessing. I'm not sure. There are tags down in there, and I have a map, kind of map that I drew up that I keep of all of my trees where they're planted. So I do have the ability to identify what's what. I can't see the tags now, and I don't have the map with me. So this big bed here, white peonies are in these 3 little cages. There's 2 little hollies here. There's Arbavita, a little baby one. There's sweet potato peas under that tutor or trellis or whatever you want to call it. There's a holly bush there. I got that one from Menards. Usually the things with the bright yellow tags are from Menards. And they're not too expensive there, so I kind of like that. And then there's another little holly that I just picked up from Menards for like 12 bucks or something over there. But that one has a different form, at least it does on the tag, compared to this first one. So I'm interested to see the contrast between the two. I got my little boxwood in a little pot that is growing. I just actually trimmed it up. So I'm trying to make a topiary out of that. That's my goal, a little topiary tree. I've never made one. Under here are some anise hyssop. I got various flower seeds planted along the front edge because I'm trying to fill in all of this dirt. Plus I like pretty flowers. You know, if you leave exposed areas, more room for weeds. So the goal is to get all of this compacted, packed with plants eventually. So here is a hydrangea over there, an Annabelle hydrangea tree bush. Some annuals here, petunias of course, sky pencil holly. I got these little barberry bushes recently from Menards, I believe. They again were inexpensive, 12 bucks a piece. I like the chartreuse green, that bright green color. So I also have two on order that from another big box store that should be coming this upcoming week, and they have these like magenta pink and the green spikes coming out. I can't think of the name of it, Rocket or something like that, but I'm very excited. This is a rose, Sharon tree, rose tree, tree of Sharon, something like that. Well, this one has red flowers, I do believe. That is a brassica, some kind of food that bunnies or something were trying to eat, so I put a little cage over it. Coral bells are coming up, and again, most of these things were planted from bare roots. The annuals, or the little flowers, I planted those from seed, but most of the little shrubs and flowers were planted from bare roots. A couple that I've pointed out I bought from, you know, big box stores or nursery or something like that. This little ferny looking stuff in the front is yarrow, which grows really well here. It's huge, and I grew that from seed. This is phlox purple. I did not know it was purple. I don't think I labeled the color, but if I knew it was purple, I would have planted it in the other side. This side is supposed to be greens, of course, whites, and then bold colors like reds and yellows primarily. So I'm trying to make it somewhat cohesive. Alright, I got more annuals thrown in. And what is this? Hollyhocks. A couple of hollyhocks. I think something was trying to eat those, so I covered those up. Certain flowers, I noticed the bunnies or squirrels or something want to eat them. Mini roses over here that look sad. I don't know if hopefully they make it. These are probably Shasta daisies or something. More of the ice plants, I think, right here. This red peony, I'm afraid, looks like it's practically dead. So I'm going to give that a couple weeks, and I'm going to pull that out. I don't think it's going to make it. So that's kind of a bummer, because that was a bright pop of red. My little fountain, which right now has a slow trickle. I think I need to check the pump, maybe clean it. When you have these outdoor fountains, at least my fountains, man, you have to clean that pump just about every couple of days, it seems. Like there's just little leaves and debris that falls into the fountain, and then the pump sucks it, and it clogs up the air intake or whatever. So you have to go in and clean it out. It's a constant thing. Hellebores here that I planted. Bare roots. There's a couple of those in there. I don't know where the other one is right now. Coral bells. Another issue is I may have inadvertently pulled out some things thinking they were weeds, and they probably were the beginnings of some of my plants. I got some more annuals thrown in there for just some immediate gratification. More of the yarrow. hostas there, tiny ones. They were bare roots. This is a yellow peony. Let's see if we can see it. That was another bare root. This yellow plant, I cannot tell you the name of it. It's beautiful. It doesn't look yellow now. It had these bright yellow and kind of tinged with chartreusey flowers on it. Now the flowers are going, and it looks like it's going to set seed soon. But this is a perennial, so I hope it spreads. It's very pretty, but it was pricey. I got this from the actual local nursery, and it was a pricey shrub, and it was very tiny. So it was tinier than that, actually. I think it's grown. So I only got one. I would have liked to have 2 or 3, but yeah, I couldn't afford that at the time. This is St. John's wort, I believe, which grows well at my house too. This is a dogwood tree, like the red dogwood. I'm very excited. Hopefully it survives because it will stay red, the branches, through the winter. So I'm very excited. It'll be a pop of color, and you can use it. A lot of people use them in decorations, stuff like that. Floral arrangements. Another sky pencil holly. Let's see. Dahlia pom-poms. Okay. Pom-pom dahlias there. I planted some Billy Button seeds. They don't look like they've come up. That's another annual. The coleus. I got a lot of coleus around. I like coleus. It's very colorful. And it usually seems like it does pretty well in partial shade. Here's some seeds I planted for, what is it? Let's see. Gaillardia, which I don't even know what that is. I know it's a flower, but I mean, I've never planted it before. I'm not sure how it looks, but I planted some seeds there. Some more little, maybe pom-pom dahlias again here that I've planted a little bunch of. There's 3 hostas back there. I tried to plant shade stuff kind of over here, so hostas. There's various flower seeds. There's another hydrangea, little bush. I don't know if that's Annabelle, but it's a white. All my hydrangeas that I have out here are white flowers. So there's one over there. This is, I call my little, let me zoom out. I call this my container section. So it's a collection of containers, and over time I'll add more. It's very Klaus Dalbu, the container garden. He does lots of containers. Okay, so most of these containers have annuals, and then, you know, the bigger ones are the boxwoods and stuff that I'm trying to make into topiaries. So I believe, yeah, I'm not sure the name of this flower. If I can find it, I'll put it up. But it is beautiful. I saw that in the nursery, my local nursery. I've never seen this thing before, the shrub flower. It's an annual, I believe, but I thought it was so pretty I had to have it. So I got that, and coleus and petunias in there. And a mixture of different annuals over here. There's some St. John worts in that one, and of course those are my boxwood arborvitae there. The fairy garden is doing well. Oh, more pots. Let's see, coleus and annuals, and this fiber optic grass, which is an annual, and petunia, and then more of the same. This mimics the other container, this one, with the tons of coleus. That is mostly Shasta daisies, I believe, in that one. Another one of my boxwoods that I'm trying to make into a topiary. More Shasta daisies, more coleus. And then there are 2 of these. And these have a pepper in the middle, because I had extra peppers. And I was trying to spread my peppers and tomatoes around so they don't get decimated if they're all in one spot by a bunny. So I put a couple up here. I believe they're, I don't know, they could be hot or sweet. I'll see when they come up. But they're peppers. And then my little window boxes are doing well. I replanted some of the things. I have ranunculus in there and that petered out. So, you know, that's an early season flower. So I pulled that and saved the two corms for those because I love that flower and I'm going to replant them. But these are my potato vines I got. I got some, I don't know if that's eucalyptus, but it's growing really fast now because that was just, I think that was one plant. And then I have a couple of little spruce, juniper, and a boxwood in there that I'm going to transplant to the ground when it gets cold. But they're nice and big and they were inexpensive, so I like kind of having those in there as a filler. Because buying flowers from the nursery, it's not inexpensive. Another tree hydrangea. I really like hydrangeas, especially the ones that are white or green in flowering colors. Second window box, which should be very similar to the first one. Things may be moved around a little bit in this one, but same plants. My front porch, I got a gnome. I call him Nomeo. That's the biggest gnome I have. And that one, I don't know, it's about 3 feet. Anywho, I got a petunia blooming there. Isn't that pretty? I think I actually grew that from seed because I would not have picked out that color at the nursery. But it's actually growing, so I'm happy. You know, I had a hard time with seeds this year. These pots are experimental. I just put stuff in here to see what will grow there, or if it's a flower seed I've never grown, which most of them I've never grown because I haven't grown flowers before this year. Then I'll plant it in here to see what happens, or if I like it, or how it's gonna look. And not much is doing well in these, and I think it's because they're on the porch and there's a lot of shade. I did move them closer to the edge where they get part sun, a little bit of sun during the day. But the only thing that really wants to take off in these is the ivy, so I assume this soil is acidic. It's a mix of compost and peat moss, the same kind of mix I usually use for my gardening, but I don't know. These must be quite acidic because the ivy is loving it. Look at that. And the flowers not loving it so much. Even the petunias are looking sad. But, and this green, I don't even know what this is. That is not the right tag for that. I'm not sure what that green annual is, but that seems to like it. Okay, so over here, my lovely chair. That chair is so comfortable. The cushion, it's fantastic. Alright, so I moved these pots over by the house. These are a mix. I planted some asparagus in here from seed, and it's actually growing, so we'll see what that does. That's an experiment. I mean, I know most people would plant little roots, bare roots, which I have in the back where my food is, but I wanted to try the seeds. They were not expensive, so we'll see what happens with those. I threw a petunia in there just to have something flowering. And there are amaryllis bulbs in here that have not shown their heads. There are 2 or 3 in here and 2 or 3 in the other container. The other container, one of them is actually coming up. There's my topiary. Oh, there's a bee. And I removed the fountain that was here. It finally bit the dust, so there was a fountain here, a tiered fountain that I really liked. I really liked hearing the sound in the house with the windows open. But that thing bit the dust, and I decided not to put another fountain here right now because fountains are pricey. So I did put these little bird figurines, which I like. I like yard art, and also I'm hoping some of these things scare away like bad things that might come to eat my stuff. So I have spinners and stuff like that, stuff that moves. Hopefully that does something. But these are pretty. Okay, so one amaryllis bulb is coming up here. Just one. So I don't know what happened to the others. Hopefully they make an appearance. But my goal is to, once it gets cold, you know, after they flower and all of that, or before it gets really cold, to take them out and store them to use again next year. or plant them in the garden. I got to research them and see if this particular variety is hardy here. If I can just plant them straight out in the garden and leave them, or do I have to store them? But I'm going to keep those bulbs. I do know that. Because I like the amaryllis. They're pretty. And these are my little owl family. Mama owl and baby owls. Carrots. They look lush. So they're definitely growing now. My little topiary ball. Those carrots, it's getting hot, so I'm kind of concerned because the carrots aren't that big yet. The tops are. So I am hoping because it's protected there. It doesn't get a lot of sun. It's pretty shaded in this area, so I'm hoping they'll continue to grow through the season because I want carrots, big carrots. That whole bed is carrots. My little turtles, stacked turtles. It's cute. I got that from QVC. This little pot has a candy tuft umbellata. Never heard of it, but that's what I planted in it. And they are little seedlings now. I replaced those pots with the amaryllis with these white ones just because they look better with the house. Those other ones are got to me look more rustic, and they were just ones I had from last year or something. But these gonna look better with my color scheme, and they were inexpensive, so I grabbed them the last two. And they have peppers in the center as well. These also have collard greens, coleus, and petunias. And I just planted these, so you know, a lot of things that look sparse, as I've said in other videos, you have to give them time to fill in. And I skipped the rest of that other bit, so I get to go back over there. Alright, what is this? Shasta daisies, maybe? I don't know. Shiso. I don't know where the shiso is. Not sure what that is. We will see when it grows. It's a flower, I do believe, though. More seeds that are sprinkled. Here's a tree. Looks like a cherry tree. I mean, a peach tree. I believe my nectarines are in the backyard, so I think that is a peach tree. And it does have a couple of peaches on this one, and this one is 2 years old. So I didn't plant it this winter. I planted it the winter before this one, or early spring. But okay, there you go. So that is a tiny, tiny peach. Now, once my these fruit, if they hopefully get big enough, I will try to cover. If it doesn't have a lot of fruit on the tree, like one or two, I will cover the individual fruit. If it has several, then I'll try to cover the tree with some netting or something to protect it from the birds. There's lavender in the middle. That's growing. That was a lot smaller when I planted it a couple weeks ago. The hellebores are done, but I'm hoping they're seeding this area. I love hellebores, and they're not cheap. They're a little pricey, so I want them to reseed themselves and fill in. What do I have here? Black hollyhocks. I planted in there from seeds. This is another peach tree, and the sign is up high on this one. Most of the signs are tucked down in those white tubes, and so the wind doesn't just whip them off. So that's why I can't tell you exactly what kind it is. This is a Stark Saturn peach. And like I said, I get most of my fruit trees from Stark Brothers online, and they've been a great company so far. This one has some peaches in there. Let's see if I can get it. I don't know if you can see that. Now it wants to be shady now. It's either too sunny or too shady. So, alright. So yeah, there are several on this one. So I'm excited about that. This is only year 2. I mean, this is fantastic. And I'm not cutting them off. I mean, they say cut them off the first year or 2 and let the roots and all that. No, this is just for my personal consumption. I'm not trying to, sell any fruit. So I am going to eat them if they come. Red Rose of Sharon. I don't know if I butchered that name before. That's a Red Rose of Sharon. Oh my gosh. This is, what is this? Contender peach. And it also has some peaches on it. I see 2, 3, I see several on this one. Again, this is only the second year for this tree, so Start Bros has some good stuff. Very happy. Alright, and this is the back end here. I just planted this. This is a Fuji apple tree, and the reason why... Alright guys, my camera turned off. I don't know if the battery got low or it got too hot, but it just cut off when I was in the middle of talking about these trees. So, it's the next day, and I'm doing this part over. So, as I was saying, I was here at this Kwanzaa cherry tree, I believe is where I left off. And then over here, I planted a new Fuji apple tree. And it just has this, is some breathable bark cover fabric to protect it a little bit until it's established. But the reason why I got this Fuji tree and placed it here is because my other one, which is over here, had some bark damage, and I don't know what happened. It's wrapped now because I applied a comfrey poultice to it and wrapped it. I saw it online as possible way to, a home remedy for helping heal the bark. So we'll see. The tree itself looks pretty lush and awesome, so I would hate to lose it, but I don't know if that bark will get infected or weakened or break or what, but that's what's going on with that one. And then I don't know if I went through these trees or not. This is a Granny Smith apple here. This is a Honeycrisp apple. And this is a Moonglow pear tree. And I recently sprayed them because something was eating these leaves. I don't know if you can see that, but something was chewing on the leaves, so they got their second dose of spray. Alright, and so I think the only thing I need to do now is talk about this little front bed. I have a pot here, which, let me show it. It's a nice little decorative plant pot, but there's some flower seeds in there that haven't come up yet. So some extra ones I had, I threw in there. There's a mix of annuals. As I said, I want this to be a moon garden. And I was thinking of removing these alliums because the moon garden is supposed to be white flowers, right? White and silver and green foliage. And I did not want to dig them up. One, I don't want to dig them up. And two, they're just so pretty and happy here. I even got some white ones. Look at this. I did not know I planted white ones. Wow. Those are beautiful. So I'm probably just going to leave them. And they're just in this little corner, so I don't think they'll mess up my goal of having a moon garden. What I did here recently was I planted 3 Kalamazoo apple trees. They're bare roots. They're just little twigs you see sticking up. They actually didn't have leaves on them when I planted them. Which was just like a few days ago. And now they have some little leaves going on. So hopefully they take, but these are Kalamazoo trees, so they won't get wider than 2 to 3 feet, and I'll keep them at a dwarf size. So I just thought that would break this up by having something tall here, because everything else is fairly low. So the 3 Kalamazoo trees are all called something Spire. They all came from Start Bros, and there are 2 red colored apples as well as a green, and they're sweet apples. So that's what's gonna have the height here in this little bed. This front row is all Shasta daisies. I believe these are the African daisies. They're white petals with like a bluish kind of center. In here are a number of annuals as well, many of which that I grew myself from seeds. So there's a mix. There's also some that I purchased from my local garden center, including some Dusty Miller and some Little Impatiens and some other things. I transplanted my 2 rosemary plants out here. I grew those out in the ground last year
dug them out at the end of the season, put them in pots, and I kept them in my grow tent over the winter, and now I've brought them back out. And the reason why is because rosemary takes a long time to establish. I really like rosemary, and so I'm trying to have as many plants of rosemary around as I can. Here's my little solar bird bath, which the birds actually seem to enjoy. They do use it from time to time. There's a couple of the small boxwoods in the front. I just planted a bunch of bulbs here that I got in the mail. They are all white. There are Oriental Lily Casablanca, a Sylvie Diamond, which is a white, Chilia Noblessa Select, Liatris Spicata, Floristan Weiss, and Asiatic Lily Bright Diamond, and there may be a couple of ferns, Christmas fern, one or two in here as well. All right, that's all I got for the front yard tour. I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.